Hello and welcome to the Opus Wealth Style Podcast. I'm your host today, Evan Wohl, joined with my good friend Mike Silverman. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Happy to have you on. Mike is the president and CEO of Silver Lining Insurance Agency. We're going to talk about the exciting world of property and casualty insurance. What are some of the blind spots? How should you be thinking about these things? How has the industry changed over the years? And what changes should you be considering as it relates to something that everyone needs in their lives? So, Mike, why don't we start by just give us a little bit of background about Silver Lining, yourself, and then we'll jump in.
Well, thanks, Evan. Silver Lining is a multi-line property and casualty agency. We're located in Midtown Manhattan. We have offices in Rye Brook, New York. We have offices in Massachusetts. We are licensed in all 50 states of the Union. So we sell insurance for businesses and for families, so individuals and corporations, property and casualty. I personally have been doing this now. August, believe it or not, was 39 years.
39 years. You look incredible. Oh, my God.
Well, I thank you for that.
Did you start when you were 9?
I thank you for that. For that, your insurance is free for the rest of the year.
There we go. Good.
But, the number one thing that we do is we protect people. Our tagline, if you will, is we protect what you value most. And, that's really what it comes down to. It doesn't matter to us how we go about handling insurance. We just want to make sure that the people that we work with understand what they have, why they have it, and then on top of that, answer any questions that they have, because insurance is another language. Mm-hmm. It's a foreign language to many people. And we just try to bring it and make it as simple as humanly possible along the way.
So for 39 years, I'm guessing things have changed quite a bit over that period of time.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, but, at the same time, I imagine you see a lot of the same stuff, right? So I hear all the time, I reached out I call an 800 number name the insurance company. I don't want to, degrade any insurance company, but what are some common either blind spots or mistakes that you see on a regular basis that people are making that they just have no idea, because exactly what you said, insurance is another language?
Well, the number one thing is they call an 800 number because they figure, okay, I'll call the insurance company. Mm-hmm. They'll tell me what I need or should be thinking about, and then I'll get a policy. Mm-hmm. The problem is that person on the other end of the 800 number has no vested interest in your protection. Mm-hmm. So they don't know all the nuances of your life. Whereas whether it's my agency or another professional insurance agent, asks questions. That's the key. We continue to ask questions. What's important to you? Where are your exposures? And we have conversations about that. The amount of insurance is vitally important. Mm-hmm. How much insurance should I have versus do I have? How much insurance do I want? Do I need to have that? So these are all the conversations that a generic 800 number is not going to have with somebody. You should have XYZ if you're buying a car. Okay, that's great. That's the basics. Mm-hmm. But maybe I didn't tell them that I have 2 15-year-olds coming up driving next year. Should that come into play in a conversation? Those are the little things. The blind spots really are where the professional insurance agent brings the most value to the client.
Because they're sitting more on the side of the client, whereas the person behind the 1-800 number is sitting more on the side of the insurance company. Is that fair?
They're on the side of the carrier, and they don't have any need economically on their side to care about getting the proper coverages for the client. We can have two people that look exactly alike, have similar portfolios, but then have absolutely different needs for insurance because, as I said, they may have children coming up and driving soon. They may have an extra house, a secondary location, or a third location, or they own a house in which their parents live. There's so many moving parts in the property and casualty world that not having conversations first before selling insurance is detrimental to the client.
I can tell you from personal experience, it is very helpful to be able to have someone that I could reach out to to ask those questions to, whether it was when my wife got into 2 accidents over the course of 2 months. I'm not supposed to share that, but or when our sub pump broke outside, and we had to have those conversations. It really does give us a much more confidence to say, I don't know what we should do, whether we should submit a claim or not, but let me reach out to Mike and he's going to tell us.
Well, I thank you for that. And not filing a claim is sometimes as important as filing a claim. You need to know and have a conversation around what are the ramifications of a claim. Now, if someone has major water damage in their house, a fire, vandal, we're absolutely filing a claim. But if someone has a fender bender and it's their third one in 7 weeks, it's only $7,000 only. But they have a $2,500. Does it make economic sense to file the claim? Will they be canceled because it's the fourth? These are conversations that we always want to have with people before filing a claim. Doesn't mean we won't file the claim. I just want to make sure when we're having a conversation with someone, they understand all the ramifications, positive and negative, of filing a claim.
Now, when it comes to, you have insurance, but what are the best practices? I'll get like some examples of, I remember you telling me years ago, go around with my phone and just videotape things, or keep receipts or things like that. What are some just like simple best practices that you share with people?
Receipts are hard today.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even get receipts.
Yeah.
That's the funniest part. And it also took the insurance industry a very long time. Forget computers. It took them a long time to realize that when we asked people to keep receipts of their purchases to justify a claim, when their house burns to the ground, where are the receipts? In the brush, in the fire. So they finally realized that's not the good. But I always tell people, as you said, a video, a picture truly is worth 1,000 words. I really did have this. This is what was there. But more and more, an inventory of what you have so that you can replenish it. See, in today's world, buying things is really easy. Amazon will be there by the end of business today. You can go on Wayfair and have it tomorrow afternoon. What did you have in the house that you have to replace? We don't need receipts anymore. Now, I always tell people when it comes to expensive items, jewelry, artwork, things like that, we want receipts, we want appraisals, but send them to us. We'll keep copies. We're off-site. I always love to have a picture of someone wearing the diamond ring or the necklace. So, for example, I have in my file plenty of pictures of my wife just pointing to her earring, and then every once in a while she'll say, I would like a new one, that kind of thing. So some of those conversations can get expensive. But very simply, documentation is everything. Is it required? In some cases, yes. To get the insurance, for example, a diamond ring, you need an appraisal. But having the documentation at claim time makes the claim so much easier to process.
So that's a good transition, because I remember vaguely telling me years ago a little bit about the difference between carriers and claims. And so maybe share a little bit with the audience, how should people think about what carrier they should go with and why one might be better suited for them over another?
Well, that again comes down to having a conversation with a professional insurance agent. Okay, someone who represents multiple carriers. Now, there are agencies out there, and I'm sure they're very good and knowledgeable, but they represent one company. Doesn't make them bad, it just makes them what they are. So they cannot speak to other carriers. In our agency, we represent 35, 40, 50 carriers on a given day. So we've seen from experience how carriers handle claims. Now, one thing I always like to express to people, because the marketplace will say, oh, the big bad insurance company doesn't want to pay my claim.
I hear it all the time.
We hear that all the time. And it doesn't matter if it's property casualty insurance, health insurance, anything. The one myth I like to debunk, if you will, insurance companies are built to pay claims. They're just built to pay them properly. Okay? So the idea is they want to pay the claim, they just want to pay it properly. So by going to a professional insurance agent who knows the marketplace where that client is, they can have conversations with you. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Client, your house is insured and valued at $2 million. This insurance company is excellent, but not over this kind of value. They're very good at the 300,000. Doesn't make them a bad company. It's just what they specialize in.
Would you say that
there are companies that don't?
Would you say the claims experience is largely what separates one carrier from another, as opposed to, I don't know, prices or specifics in the contract?
Well, price will always be different regionally, so that we can't speak of. Okay, so for example, a homeowner's policy in the New York metropolitan area will be different than in the Midwest, than in California. So that we can't speak to. But claims experience, yes. How do they handle a claim? How quickly do they pay the claim? How difficult do they make it for the insured to get paid? How much additional information is needed, etc. You know, we like to have conversations with people around what's important to them. You know, I always say, listen, insurance, I don't like to use the phrase is a necessary evil, because I don't think it is an evil. In some cases, insurance is required by law. To have an automobile, you must have insurance. The law says so. Now, the law we'll just use New York, because that's where I am right now. New York says the minimum amount of insurance that you can have, liability, and legally drive your automobile is $25,000. That's not a lot of money today.
It's not getting you very far.
No, it's not, especially if you hurt someone. If you're in an automobile accident and someone gets injured, we're talking thousands and thousands and maybe even millions of dollars. So we have to have those conversations with people. What is exposed if I don't have enough insurance to pay the claim? My economics, is my house, is my investments, are my savings? What can that other party get of mine?
Future income.
Future income, garnish wages, exactly.
What?
So the purpose of insurance truly is to transfer the risk, economic risk, from your pocketbook to the insurance company's pocketbook. And for that transfer, you pay an annual premium.
One of the things I see a lot is everybody's got auto and homeowners insurance, but not a lot of people have umbrella insurance. And I've never really understood why it is that because most of these people are just reaching out to the 1-800 number, as opposed to working with a financial professional, like you mentioned. And so if they're working with a financial professional, more likely they're getting an umbrella policy. But if they're calling the 800 number, the insurance company directly, far less so. Why is that?
Because the person on the carrier side of the 1-800 number takes the call, has a conversation with the caller, and provides them what they ask for. They ask for automobile insurance. They ask for homeowners insurance. The client doesn't know to ask the next step. If they ask, they'll have that conversation.
Sure.
I will tell you, over the years, I've been on those 800 numbers on the call with a prospect. Why? Because for various reasons, we weren't able to insure them, but we wanted to help them get the coverages. I once heard someone on the other side of the phone say, "Why would you need that?" when we asked about an umbrella policy. That's the stuff that gets me crazy.
Yeah.
You know, or when when I have a client with a $2 million umbrella, and then we decide after having an annual review, a quarterly review, whatever it is, to increase it to $5 million, sometimes an insurance company underwriter says, "Why? Why are you increasing?" Because we're doing our job.
Yeah.
Because we're protecting the assets and the family of our mutual client.
For the audience, if you don't know what an umbrella policy is, it's liability protection that sits on top of your auto or homeowners insurance. Because your auto or homeowners will only cover you up to a certain amount, and so any lawsuit beyond that, you would be out of pocket if you didn't have an umbrella policy.
Well said.
Thank you. So let's talk about what has occurred across the industry over the last couple of years, and I'm more interested in people who have homes on the coast and with the wildfires that happened in California. Was that last year? Earlier this year. So, I remember hearing. I have a friend that another advisor that lives in Florida, and he was saying people just couldn't get homeowners insurance anymore because they live too close to the coast. And what do? If you can't get homeowners insurance, your house catches on fire, or gets flooded, you're just out of a whole bunch of money. So what has occurred in the industry across the last few years around that, and what do you do about it?
So right now, early fall 2025, in 49 states, you can get insurance without a problem. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about price. Okay? Mm-hmm. You mentioned Florida. Mm-hmm. You can get insurance anywhere in Florida. There will be a cost to it in certain areas, mm-hmm. but you can get it. The state of California today, there are areas that it's almost impossible to get insurance. Now, people say, oh, because of the wildfires, because of the earthquakes, because of this. No. That's a minor factor in the whole thing. It's legislative. So what happened over the last number of years, and we're just going to use California as an example, there are other states that are having these problems. They just don't get the PR because they don't have wildfires in addition to. Mm-hmm. Okay, New Jersey, for example, is one of the states that is going through the similar thing to California, but not getting the PR because of the wildfires. For many years, the legislature in the state of California said, we're not going to let those big bad insurance companies raise their rates. Mm-hmm. We're going to protect our constituency. Mm-hmm. And for a while, that worked. Then the big bad insurance companies said to the state of California, okay, we're out. Mm-hmm. If we can't make a profit, mm-hmm. It'd be silly for us to stay here. Mm-hmm. This is not a non-for-profit organization. Mm-hmm. So many carriers pulled out of the state of California. Now, many have come back in with a number of restrictions. Where? So LA County is very difficult to get insurance. If you get it, it's unbelievably expensive.
For all homeowners insurance, kind of regardless of where you live?
Correct. Correct. California is the worst state in the union for insurance right now, currently.
You would think that's got to put pressure on home prices, right?
It puts pressure on the home prices in certain regions, yes. In certain regions, it has had no impact because the people who can afford the $10 million house can afford the $10 million claim. I don't mean to be facetious about that, mm-hmm. but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And the people who are buying the $5, $6, $7 million house frequently are not getting mortgages. Mm-hmm. So therefore, they don't have the bank requiring the mortgage insurance. Mm-hmm. So, but states like Florida, a very difficult state to get insurance, but gettable, they're predominantly due to storms. Mm-hmm. Okay, Texas. Do you know what the number one claim in Texas is right now on homeowners policies?
No
hail.
Idea.
Hail.
Hail in Texas.
Yes. Hail. And what does hail do? It damages the roof mm-hmm. of the house. It also damages the cars. Mm-hmm. Leaves pock marks all mm-hmm. over the cars. Mm-hmm. There are some insurance companies now that are saying in their policy, if we pay a roof claim to you due to hail, we will never pay you another roof claim.
Never.
We will exclude your roof after that for hail. So these are the things that one must be aware of when one is having conversations about insurance. Mm-hmm. So when we get a referral to someone in Houston, Texas, these are conversations we have. We have to be aware of what are the carriers doing in that region.
Got it. So for Florida, they just pay more money.
That's
That's
it.
just what it comes down to. And then it's
That's really what it
because
comes down to.
the probability of the insurance company paying the claim is higher because whether it's floods or hurricanes or whatever the case may be.
Mostly hurricanes. Now, the other issue is there are so many small little insurance companies popping up in Florida now. Question mark. No one knows the answer. Are they properly funded
That was my first question. Can you
in
trust
the
them,
event
them
that
to
they
pay a
have a
claim?
major claim? Now, they are properly funded to be an insurance company because they have to be. They have to be licensed in the state, and there's certain requirements by law. But if we have one of those massive storms come right through Miami-Dade or Palm Beach County, it's going to kill some of these companies. It's scary.
Probably just a matter of time.
Yeah.
What about flood insurance? I feel like nobody has it, and then then it floods, and everyone starts talking about it, and then they look at the price, and we're like, never mind. And then that just keeps repeating.
Well, flood insurance really is not as expensive as people think it is. Okay. Why do they not talk about it? Because it's not a topic of conversation that the insurance companies bring up when they call 800. Okay. Everybody thinks, I'm not in a flood zone. I'm not in a flood zone. I don't need flood insurance. If I can debunk that myth, everyone is in a flood zone. Every property address is in a zone. Is it in a good zone or is it in a bad zone or somewhere in between? That's what makes the flood zone. So when someone says, I'm not in a flood zone, yes, you are. Okay, let's now find out what flood zone you're in and run some numbers. If you're in a good flood zone, meaning it doesn't flood regularly, flood insurance is not expensive. Well, if I'm in a good flood zone, it doesn't flood regularly, why do I need to buy flood insurance? Because it's going to flood. Because it's just going to happen. Because what's flood insurance? It's not just the unexplained overflow of the tidal basin, as you know from being at the shore or the beach or whatever. It's also a massive rainstorm where there's seepage in one's basement.
Which homeowners does not cover.
Absolutely excludes it. So that's why we talk about flood insurance all the time. And people are frequently surprised at how inexpensive flood insurance is. Does it cover a lot? No, it doesn't. It covers one thing, flood. Okay? And what we try to remind people, if you come home from work one day and there's water all over the floor in the kitchen, that's not a flood. Oh my goodness, I have a flood. No, you probably have a broken pipe. That's covered by homeowners insurance. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. You didn't have a flood.
Yeah.
You had a broken pipe.
These are all these nuances that just how would people know, what homeowners covers versus flood insurance versus what's not covered, right? It's all like just in the fine print.
It's in the fine print. It's also in the conversations that we have with clients and prospects. It's a matter of having the discussion, not just looking at the bottom line, what's it cost? As I explain to people all the time, I understand cost is a major factor. Let's be realistic. No one wants to overpay. Okay? And as I say to people all the time, I pay homeowners insurance premium too. I pay auto insurance premium too. I get it. Let's talk about coverage first. Then we'll get to the premiums and have some conversations around that. Because if I show you a policy, oh my goodness, this looks terrific, this is great, then show you the premium, you're like, oh, okay, what should we take out of that coverage? And what does it reduce?
Yeah, I hear all the time. I've got life insurance, I've got auto or homeowners, but when I ask, great, what do you have? Nobody knows, right? And so it's not enough to just say I have some insurance. You really need to make sure that the amount of insurance and or the type of insurance is appropriate for your specific situation, and that's where a professional comes into play. So
absolutely, and as a professional insurance agent, what I do is I have conversations with the client, and if they have a financial advisor, we like to include them in the conversations too, because they may have some knowledge to how money is flowing, what people are doing, what they're buying, etc. You know, my number one concern is not property. You know, houses get rebuilt, cars get repurchased. Liability is the number one concern. People getting hurt. I was taught very early on in my career, cars get fixed or replaced. People don't. So we want to make sure that people have the proper protection. God forbid there's an automobile accident, a major one. Of course, we're taking care of the $10,000 fender bender. That's easy. But if someone ends up in the hospital, what happens? That's the conversations we want to have with people. Not to scare them, but to speak reality.
Yeah, I find the hardest conversations to have are obviously the ones that have the biggest impact. And so it's easy to just skip over that and not want to have the maybe sometimes awkward conversations, but those are the ones that matter.
Agreed.
As we're wrapping up here, Mike, your 39 years of veteran experience, what are anything you want to leave the audience with, or like key things that people want to either ask their insurance professional or make sure that they're thinking about or avoiding as they're making these decisions?
Do I have the correct insurance for my exposures? That starts the conversation. Now, why am I paying so much? Okay. Now that's a conversation that's perfectly acceptable. And it may be because you have 3 accidents, 4 speeding tickets, and 4 DWIs. I don't know. Okay. That won't be the case, but because you won't have insurance if you have all that. But it's really about speaking directly with someone who has the knowledge, a professional who can guide you through the discussions. Do I have the right property insurance? Do I have enough liability insurance? Okay. What are my deductibles? How can I save some money? What are some of the levers we can pull to reduce premium? But if I'm reducing premium, am I taking coverages away? Maybe. And if I am, I just want to know that in advance. Then I can make an informed economic decision. Now, it doesn't mean it's wrong, as long as you know you're making the decision.
Yeah. Speaking of levers, one of the things we often will measure is what would it look like if you raised your deductible by X? How much would that save you? And can you either pocket those savings or put it towards increasing liability protection elsewhere in the policy?
Absolutely.
Something you taught me
Our
years
goal
ago.
is always to use the dollars that the client is already spending and improve the use of it. Cannot always occur.
Sure.
But that's our first start, our hope, our goal.
Well, this has been awesome. I'm sure a lot of people will find a lot of value in this conversation. So, Mike, appreciate you joining.
Thank you.
If people want to engage with you more, Mike, or find out, have some questions for you, how can they reach out or find you?
Our website is slia.agency, so Silver Lining Insurance Agency.agency. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Michael Silverman or Silver Lining, you'll find us. Of course, our phone number is 212-701-7938. Phones still work.
Mike
we take email, we take text.
Yeah, Mike used to be the mayor for how many years were you a mayor?
I was on the council for 6 years, and then moved out of town, so had to step down.
He was both the literal and actual mayor.
Mayor of Livingston, New Jersey.
I love it. Well, to the listening audience, hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please like and subscribe if you're finding value in the conversation. And until next time, talk to you soon.